Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me today for part 7 of my 12-part near-death experience compilation. Today, we're going to be hearing from near-death experiencers in answer to this question: what is the purpose of life? So we'll be hearing from multiple near-death experiencers on what they were told the purpose of life is in their experience. If you'd like to connect with any of my guests, I will have their names displayed on the screen as they are speaking, and I will have each of them listed in the description box with their contact links. If you'd like to connect with me, you can also find my links to my social media in the description if you'd like to support this channel. Thank you for watching. That helps out a lot just by itself, but my Patreon link is also in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy.
And I said, well, tell me, I don't understand. So tell me, what's life about? I don't get it. And he said, life is about love. And I said, yeah, but people don't live like that. I can't live like that if no one else lives like that, in all earnestness. And he just smiled at me again. He didn't say to me, yes, you can. This is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. Nothing. He just left it at that and just smiled, beamed at me, And, now once I accepted it, I think to myself, of course, he just showed me that he still loved these people who hated him and wanted him tortured and dead and wanted, he just showed me that. And here I am, slow, and sort of saying, well, I can't forgive people if they don't love me. If they don't treat me right, I can't love them. So yeah, that was the extent of that conversation.
The most important thing that she wanted to teach me was love. And that love, divine love, love for each other, love for our planet, love for ourselves, love for the entire universe. That is, if we don't take away anything else, that is the most important thing that we can work on in this life, is just expanding our capacity to not only love the divine, to love ourselves, truly deeply love ourselves, because most of us don't, and also to love each other truly deeply in the way that the divine extends that love to us. And that was the most important. She talked about a lot of other things that really meshed with that, like our power of choice, how our words and actions affect other people, how they affect the world around us, whether we believe it or not. Everything we say and do affects someone, even if it's just us. So we have to start to learn to focus our thoughts, be cautious of what we say and how we treat other people. All of that is really important.
And then he said, everything that's happened to you in your life has happened for a reason, and it's to prepare you for this job I have for you. And when I asked what the job was, he said, well, to love, because that's what you do best. And he said, and I want you to give me everything else. He said, when you are heavy burdened, when you are scared, when you don't feel like you can take another step, you just give that all to me, and I'll take care of that, because I'm strong enough to do it. And all you need to do is just love. That's it.
But God does exist. He loves us all unconditionally. We were all sent here to earth to grow our spirit, to pick up greater wisdom and knowledge. And we could only do that through the challenges that each one of us face.
We chose to come down for this experience. Why? Because we're here to love, forgive, and to learn. We are eager to learn. And, the sense that I've got in that near-death experience is that almost we're revered in a way for wanting to come down here and experience what a broken bone would be like, to experience loss, and to go through what I went through in that ICU, which I do not wish on anybody. That is a horrific experience and something that is just not ever worth wanting to go through. But yet I chose to go through it. Why? Well, now I know. If hindsight is 2020, I got to go to heaven with my Father, and he showed me my self-worth and the worth of every soul on this planet. And and that was, again, a life-changing event.
We've been given a really wonderful opportunity, I believe anyway, and that is that the Earth is far more beautiful a place than we give it credit for, just because we're used to being here. And that's one of the things I remember when I came back. I just start to look around and appreciate the beauty of it all, and it really is heaven on earth. All the changing seasons, the colors, the beauty of it all. And in fact, I started watching documentaries on astronauts, US astronauts coming back from space, in the 1970s or what have you, to see what their take on going out into space is. And I thought it's quite interesting because these guys are scientists at the top of their game, so they're not really going to be that spiritual. But some of them were coming back, and they were getting quite spiritual from just from what they felt, the profundity of being out there. But one of them turned around and said, which is absolutely true, this is what I felt, he said that when he came from the moon and came crashing right back through the atmosphere, he suddenly said, wow, the Earth was like heaven. He said the Earth was this ball of color and beauty, and so there you go. And it is, it's all there.
I think the purpose of it is ultimately growing spiritually. And by growing spiritually, I mean becoming closer and closer to our Creator's ultimate unconditional love, that has been what has created everything that he's created. I say he is, as giving a pronoun, but, and so in order to get that reach that point of that total unconditional love and compassion, there's multiple different experiences that we need to come at from all different directions in order to be able to grow fully into that.
We're all, like I said, we're all interconnected, so we all share some of the big purposes. And like, I'll give you an example. One of the big purposes that we all share is to grow enough to break free from that separation, to break free from that and to grow spiritually, right? So that's one common goal for everyone that's walking on this earth. But yeah, a lot of times we have, and this took me a long time. When I was told I had a purpose, and that became kind of a mission in life when I came back. It was like purpose. What was this purpose? Because the minute I came back, I felt that separation and that aloneness again. It just came closing back in, and I forgot what, I remembered the experience, but I couldn't quite grasp the purpose that was so simple and efficient. And so I started on this lifelong journey of trying to figure out, well, I came to realize that a lot of times in life, and we all have this, little things happen, these little synchronicities where suddenly we're exposed to something and, we read something and maybe we learn something new, or maybe we experience something new. And then we take a couple more steps down our path and somebody crosses our path that is looking for that exact same information. Do you think that's part of the purpose? It's, but we have to pay attention to it. A lot of times we go through life numb and not paying attention and not realizing that we're fulfilling purpose all the time. That, sometimes I had a friend who was another experiencer, and he said, sometimes we're the helping hand and sometimes we're the boot. Okay. Sometimes we have to motivate people and sometimes maybe we're the bad guy. So prior to my near-death experience, I was the bad guy a lot. okay? But I could see in those interactions how I motivated people, sometimes not good, but I did motivate people. There were interactions, there was reaction to a lot of my stuff. So, but sometimes that, you know, we kind of push each other's buttons, but sometimes we push the good buttons, okay, that motivate people in a good way. That's more of the supreme type of purpose, you know, that we're really looking for. And you could feel it when that happens. You feel it. I feel it in my heart. And again, this is part of that inspiration. Wherever you feel it, if it's the head, you know, your hands, your heart, wherever you feel that, that pay attention, because that's telling you something.
So now I'm starting to realize, okay, I came back for a reason. Why'd I come back? Well, I really want to die. I want to go back to where I came from. I don't know why I'm here on earth, but I had a little feeling I knew, because when that love held me and it embraced and held me and all that I was feeling, I had a sense that that's what I am to do for myself, and that that's what I'm to do for another. And that's truly loving, unconditional love. And we're avatars that come here on earth to experience this, to forget who we are. We're playing a peekaboo with ourselves. And it's so beautiful to see it and to understand it and to experience it.
I remember knowing that it was all love in that place. There was no label. It was all beautiful, loving, kind, energetic, no judgment at all. Everything was okay. And that we worried too much on earth about what happens day to day. It's really more about relationship. It's all about relationship. It's all about love. It's all about supporting each other. And we're being called to work together and to lean on each other and build each other up. And that everybody has a purpose. Everybody. It's about choosing love and releasing negative thoughts. It's about trying to stay in gratitude and joy even when it's difficult. It's about also the frequency of the planet has risen in the time that we've been inside, which is interesting because now the earth can support a higher frequency being. So people are really stepping into intuitive gifts now, and it's okay, it's normal, and it's not scary as long as you kind of call for the greater good and, you know, and ask that source guide you to help people with whatever you're experiencing. And that we are actually recognizing each other again, beings of light that are here and have been, you know, have come here to kind of assist in helping others step up or recognize it. We're all beings of light. We are all source energy. We are all love. We are all divine. We have it all in us. But some of us know it, and then we can help others recognize it within themselves. And so I think right now we're really being called to work together and lift people up and help them to stay in that space.
Just being here is your purpose. Just giving kindness, love, smiling at someone. Just those little, I call them sprinkles, you know, like little star sprinkles. You don't know what that's meant to that person in their life for that day. You don't know what that smile or that good morning, you know, you don't know what that's meant to that person. If someone cuts you off in the traffic and you just go, oh, whoops, you made a mistake. Instead of getting all angry, you just go, oh, that person made a mistake. You're cool. That's okay. Then you don't know what flow on effect that has. You know what I mean? It all has a flow on effect. We all affect other people, and the people that love us affect us. And they do the same for us. I mean, you know yourself, if you're at the shops and someone smiles at you and chats, it just kind of lifts you up. It might not lift you right up so that you're feeling amazing, but it just lifts you a little bit. So it's those little things. And you'll have people come into your life that just do little things. You know, they might, and you know, they might bring a book to you and say, or they might show a book to you and say, hey, you should read this. And this book that you read is like oh my God, it's so profound in your life. You're like, this is the book I've been looking for, or this speaks to my soul. It speaks to me in a way, and it tells me something I've already been feeling or knowing, but it's kind of solidifying it in a book, you know, things like that. You might watch a movie and there's just a couple of sentences in the movie and it just speaks to your soul. And you go, oh my God, I always thought that. And that's confirmation. To me personally, that is spiritualism. That is God. That is Jesus speaking to you through those little messages, through those other people, and confirming you, confirming that inner knowing that you have of yourself and your beliefs and your values and your truth.
I think that our purpose here as human beings is to carry on life, create life, perpetuate life, acquire knowledge and information, pass that knowledge on from one person to the next, and help make humanity better, make this world a better place to live, to exist in. I think that's what our true purpose is. It's just to connect, to love one another, to treat each other with love and respect, acquire information, learn it, teach it to the next generation that's going to come behind us, to continue so that the continuity of life can continue and we can just continue to evolve and grow and aspire each year, you know, as each generation comes after us, you know, we get closer and closer to understanding this concept of pure love and pure joy. And that's the source of which sustains us as spiritual beings, is that love, that pure love, that the omnipotent love, the energy source of love. You know, you can call him God, you know, I call him God. Some other people may call him the creator. Some other people may say the universe, you know, whichever plane you're on. But I think that is our ultimate role, our ultimate responsibility while we're having this experience. You know, we become aware of ourselves. So your spirit is not aware of itself in a spirit form. So the spirit becomes aware of itself when it's in this form, in this body. So we're able to now experience life. We can see things, we can hear things, we can smell, touch, taste. We have emotions, we can feel, you know. There's so much that we can do in this form. But I think our ultimate goal is to just create and make the most of the talents that we're blessed with, that we're given, to love and respect one another, and to help make the world a better place to live for the people that are living in it right then and there, and for the next generation to come. I think that's what our main purpose is. That's just Johnny Davis's interpretation. Doesn't mean get right or wrong, but that's just my interpretation.
That I think that can be answered from different levels or different perspectives. I think that from one perspective, the purpose is to enjoy ourselves, even though that we may not always do that.
Yeah.
I think that it's certainly a great place to learn and expand as whole selves and as personalities. I think that thinking about something or daydreaming about something is one way of experiencing it. But when we actually do it and walk through a situation or experience or an event, then we know it in a whole different way. And I think that this reality gives us that opportunity in kind of a unique way. I think from my experience, I think there's a lot of realities that we can participate in. But I think that they're all unique. And I think this one offers some very unique ways of expressing ourselves and exploring who and what we are individuated and who and what we are as a collective.
I think the reason we're here is to love and be loved, to create, to, you know, explore and be curious. You know, I think we are an extent. Now in the Catholic Church, the thinking is you are made in the image and likeness of God. Okay. In my experience, it's we are a direct connection from God. In other words, everything we experience, God experiences. And I think God wanted to know it's God's self in all ways. And we provide that. So it's a journey, you know? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I learned is that heaven is here. It's not there. That's going home, and that's wonderful, and that it is the best. But we can create heaven here. We can also create hell here, and we do. And it's a choice.
So I saw a lot on the journey with these two light beings, and so when like them showing me that I had agreed to this, that when I remembered that, it was like, oh yes. And the challenge was for me to remember who we all are. And because I had other lifetimes where I had died in a rage and feeling betrayed and angry and didn't remember who I was or who others were. I was stuck in that egoic kind of judgment stuff. So I guess you get as many chances as you like, right? So this time it was like, I'm really going to try to remember who we all really are. It's to remember who we really are, and then to live from that state while we're here embodied. And however many times we need or want to have an experience to bring that light in to a greater degree, if you will. It's like bringing that, it's hard to use words, but it's bringing that level of light and acceptance and understanding from that NDE state of being to here while embodied. So when we look at others, we can see past the behaviors. We can remember who we all really are while we're here. And then we that is now here on this plane, if you will. And so we're all part of that journey of bringing that level of awakening and that level of awareness from our true self state of being to the human embodied state of being.
There are three big purposes of life, three big reasons we incarnate. And we're talking humans again. An overriding purpose is we want to see if we can come into this wild and woolly primitive land and to these wild beasts. And that's the way we look at Earth and humans from the afterlife, and still show unconditional love and still be our own natural personalities while we're riding this wild animal. So that's an overriding. Yeah, riding a wild animal reason. Then there are three other purposes. One, we may incarnate with a loved one who's going to incarnate into a human so that we can be there as their support person. And so we will incarnate into a spouse or a child or a teacher or a rabbi or somebody who would typically be a support person for a human. So that life will be all about giving support to the other person. When we're not giving support to the other person, we're supposed to have fun. Another purpose is to be a catalyst. We may agree with someone in the afterlife that, we're going to incarnate with them so that we can do something that is a catalyst for something they want to experience in their life. Say, for example, somebody wants to experience what it's like to have the weight of life and death decisions on their shoulders. And so they may incarnate into somebody who later becomes a doctor. And maybe the other person who's the catalyst will incarnate into someone who causes an automobile accident and somebody is grievously injured. And the doctor has the weight of saving that person, and whether it has to go through the emotional turmoil of thinking and wondering, and should I save them so that they live a life that they may not think is worth living, or should I let them go? So that's a catalyst life. And when you're not being the catalyst, you're supposed to be having fun. The most prevalent purpose of life is to study a theme or a concept or a character trait that Source doesn't have. Source can imagine it, but cannot experience it directly because it's just contrary to its own nature. So let's take greed. So someone may decide they want to study what it's like to experience greed, and they will incarnate into every creature in the universe that feels greed. And they will do it over and over and over and over until they get a 360-degree perspective on what greed is like. And let's say they're incarnating into humans for a while. In one life, they may be the greedy person who, cons people and scams them and, gets their money by illegal means. In another life, they may come in and be the victim of a con and be the victim of somebody else's greed. In another life, they may be the employee of a greedy boss and go through what it's like to try to satisfy somebody who really has just one goal in life and still maintain some self-worth. And the next life, they may, be something else entirely. So you'll have every relationship in which greed can be experienced from lifetime to lifetime. And it'll take several lifetimes to do that. And when you're not working on your theme or you're studying your character trait, you're supposed to be having fun. Because that's what Source thinks. Parts of Source that humans call souls do not come into an incarnated state to learn about love. We are love. We're Source. We're unconditionally loving. That's our nature. We know what that's like. We can have that at home. So we're more interested in learning what it's like not to be unconditionally loving. But we also have this challenge, or we challenge ourselves to try to, as much as we can, bring our own eternal spiritual innate nature to the forefront in a life. What does God expect of me? Nothing. Come, do your thing, have fun, learn something. That's it. Our sole purpose for incarnating is to have experiences that Source can't have directly. And that includes having fun and sex and eating. When I was in the afterlife, I missed chocolate.
I understood that it's not that we're trying to get through this physical experience to get to the other side after we pass. It's not like we're trying to check boxes here to get into an afterlife that we ultimately want to have forever and ever and ever. It felt very much like we are learning to bring that bliss that's a part of us at the soul level into our physical experiences. I really feel that we want to create in the physical, that we are ultimately creative beings. Our souls are immensely creative, and we want to experience creation here in a physical. We want to be able to create an experience that we want to have because we want to have the experience. And I've used this comparison before, and some people like it and some people it really rubs them the wrong way. So if you're listening and this example rubs you the wrong way, I'm really sorry. But It's like when you go on a trip and you plan a vacation. You're planning a vacation not because you want to learn a lesson, not because you're attempting to gain some knowledge about something. You plan your trips because you want to have an experience. There's certain things you want to go see. You want to interact with things that you've never interacted with. You might want to go eat food you've never eaten before. You might want to see sights you've never seen before. You might want to go have time with somebody that is really precious and one-on-one with just the people that you're spending that trip with. And those reasons are at the heart of why we are here. We are here for the experience. And to discount that is to discount the very essence of what makes this life so beautiful.
I think we forget that, you know, there are wavelengths of light that we can't see with our eyes. There are sounds we can't hear with our ears. And there are just concepts that we're not going to necessarily be able to wrap our heads around about why we're here and the totality of our existence here in the physical body. But when we boil it all down, it is a matter of experience. We came here to have a physical experience, and to have that experience is absolutely integral to the entire whole. We each need to have this experience. It's an important part of what makes the oneness, the God, the divinity, what it is. It couldn't exist without us.
We don't really come to learn lessons. And this is something that a lot of people tend to think, but what I got from on the other side from the download was that we don't learn lessons, we came to experience. And as we experience, we might learn a lesson, but it's not because we have to, or that this is going to make your soul grow. Not true. Your soul knows everything. It's totally perfect. There's no lesson that it needs. But when it's having these experiences, it's kind of like you could learn a lesson while you're doing that experience. That part is true.
If you were God and you're playing a video game, right? And you got this great video game going, you're totally immersed in it, and it's real, and I mean, it's really real. And it's all these beautiful, wondrous things that every orgasmic thing that you could think of, and beauty and happiness that could ever happen. After a while, you'd be going, where's the little button that's like surprise me button? Press that one, right? Because when you go to the movies, you know, you want to be immersed in it, like it's real. It needs to be believable, but you know, you also want to be scared. I mean, every Disney movie there ever is, there's a villain, there's a bad guy, right? So that's kind of how I think of you and I think that we are. I am that I am, and we're playing. It's more like I'm going to Hindus think of it as a drama, but this actually is a kind of a play. I don't know. But I don't, I'm comfortable with not knowing. It was really, really obvious there. Everything was about love. Everything was made out of love. There's nothing that wasn't love. And so, I don't think we have a thing to learn. When I had that download, I had infinite knowledge. And I was like, I got it all. There's nothing to learn. But that state of love was all potential. Infinite potential, but it didn't have any skin on. It's the only way I can describe this. It was intangible in a way. And I think that when God incarnates, it gives a way to find and explore and experience that love in a way that you have skin on. which is hard to do cleanly. But I think that's why we're here. I think our purpose is to love